Welcome to Untold Shocking History Channel. Make sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out more videos like this one.
First cousins and members of royalty, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia on the left, and King George WWII of the United Kingdom on the right, are photographed together wearing military uniforms in Berlin, Germany in 1913. Two scientists pose with the plutonium core of the Fat Man bomb used in Nagasaki in 1945. The detail was censored by FBI censors to maintain confidentiality. Hiroshima, Japan, August 5th, 1946. The burnt ruins still visible 1 year after the airstrike. The city was in the process of rebuilding, reflecting the devastation caused by military actions. Miners work at the famous Serra Pelada gold mine in Brazil in 1986. The scene shows hundreds of men climbing steep slopes with sacks of earth. This striking image depicts the human effort in pursuit of riches and the extreme conditions faced at the time. Krista McAuliffe's parents and sister watched the Challenger explosion at the Kennedy Space Center in January 1986. A security guard prepares to protect a Korean store during the 1992 riots in Los Angeles. The protests and clashes occurred after the acquittal of officers accused of assaulting Rodney King. Captured German soldiers enjoy K rations from the United States in Normandy, France on June 9, 1944. While waiting for transport to England, these prisoners of war show relief after surrender. A priest offers a prayer for the victims of the Titanic in 1912. This gesture of solidarity highlights the human impact of the tragedy and the importance of honoring those who perished. Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders watch President Lyndon B. Johnson's speech on television in 1965. The moment reflects the importance of media in the fight for equal rights. Amelia Earhart poses in front of her biplane named Friendship in Newfoundland in 1928. She took part in a transatlantic flight as a passenger, becoming the first woman to make the crossing. General Augusto Pinochet salutes Salvador Allende in the 1970s. This historic moment took place before the military coup that overthrew Allende and installed Pinochet's dictatorship in Chile. French soldiers in a trench in Alsace-Lorraine, France, on June 16, 1917. Wearing blue uniforms, they experienced the harsh reality of World War I. German soldiers in the flooded trenches in 1943. The war brought extreme and harsh conditions for the combatants. Many soldiers suffered illnesses and injuries related to the mud and the cold. German soldiers celebrate Christmas in the trench during World War I in 1915. The scene reflects a momentary pause in the conflict, bringing a bit of hope amid the hardships of war. The Red Army's First Ukrainian Front advances through the newly liberated city of Kiev in November 1943. The march symbolizes the Soviet forces' progress in freeing occupied territories during World War II. Japanese bicycle infantry advances towards Singapore in December 1941. This strategy was used by troops to move quickly along Malaysian roads during World War II. Salvador Dalí works on his painting The Face of War in 1940. The canvas expresses the psychological impact of war, featuring repeated faces within mouths, symbolizing the cycle of destruction. Newly released prisoners of war celebrate as the C-141A aircraft takes off from Hanoi, North Vietnam, on February 12, 1973. The moment was part of Operation Homecoming, which returned hundreds of American prisoners after the end of hostilities. Vietnamese orphans arrived in the United States in 1975. They were part of Operation Baby Lift, which airlifted children for adoption before the fall of Saigon. Severe weather blankets the summit of Mount Washington in New Hampshire in 1953. The region is known for its intense storms and high winds, making it a challenge for anyone who visits. Ronald Reagan welcomes Mujahideen leaders at the White House in February 1983. The meeting symbolizes American support for the fighters who were facing the Soviet invasion in Afghanistan. A rare photo of North Korean leader Kim Il-sung shows a tumor on his neck. It was forbidden to photograph the right side of his face, where the swelling was more noticeable. The draft manuscript of The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky was written in 1880. The work is considered one of the greatest in world literature and addresses themes such as morality, faith, and family relationships. A large M-shaped sign welcomes Mussolini to a village in Piedmont, Italy, in 1928. The symbol represented Mussolini's regime, which ruled with intense propaganda and social control. A 35 miles per hour speed limit was adopted during World War II, known as victory speed. The measure was created to save fuel and rubber, both critical for the war effort. British military equipment is camouflaged as elephants in India during World War II. This strategy aimed to hide the war material from enemy observers by leveraging the cultural familiarity with elephants. The pyramids are seen from above in a photo taken from a hot air balloon in 1904. This unique perspective reveals the grandeur of the ancient Egyptian structures. The record highlights the curiosity and adventurous spirit that drove early 20th century explorations. A woman uses a portable micro-television, invented by Sony, in the back seat of her car in 1963. The device represents an innovation of the era, allowing people to watch television from practically anywhere. Lenin's mausoleum in Moscow was camouflaged as a residential building in 1941. This measure aimed to protect it from possible attacks during World War II. An impressive aerial view shows Manhattan's majestic skyline covered by a layer of snow in the winter of 1941. The urban landscape, framed by the snow, highlights the grandeur of the city's skyscrapers. Workers take a lunch break at the Bethlehem Fairfield shipyards in Baltimore, Maryland, during World War II in 1943. A sharecropper takes a lunch break on his farm, photographed by Dorothea Lange on the outskirts of Clarksdale, Mississippi in 1937. The image depicts the life of rural workers during the Great Depression, highlighting their hardships and resilience. The Guardian Angels patrol the New York City subway during the 1980s. This volunteer group worked to fight crime and ensure passenger safety. President Jimmy Carter and Nigerian leader Olusegun Obasanjo meet in 1977. The meeting strengthened the partnership between the United States and Nigeria on economic and political issues. People gather in front of an appliance store in Buenos Aires to watch man's arrival on the moon in 1969. The scene shows the global impact of this historic event and the interest of people from diverse cultures. A family gathers for Christmas dinner at Earl Pauley's home near Smithfield, Iowa, in 1936 during the Great Depression. The simple meal includes potatoes, cabbage, and pie, reflecting the economic hardships of that era. With her husband at war, the mother works on the car around 1944. She represents the women who took on traditionally male roles during World War II. Marilyn Monroe, at age 22, takes dance lessons in Hollywood in 1949. This phase marks her development as an artist before becoming a global icon. Marilyn Monroe, as a child, enjoys a day at the beach with her mother around 1929. The scene depicts a happy, simple family moment before her rise as a movie star. A group of people wearing mouse costumes gathers at Ocean Park, California, around 1930. They take part in one of the first meetings of the Mickey Mouse Club, created to promote the character Mickey Mouse. Norma Jean Baker, who would later become Marilyn Monroe, poses for a photo at age 15 in 1941. She stands in front of a street sign near her school, in a typical American suburban setting. Walt Disney poses next to a map of his first theme park, Disneyland, in 1955. He proudly points to the layout showing the various themed areas and attractions. Charlie Chaplin appears in front of Federal Hall on Wall Street in 1918. The image shows the actor during a visit to New York, where he was gaining international fame with his films. The band Nirvana poses for a photo shoot during the release of the album Nevermind. The record marked a new era in music, bringing the grunge sound to the global stage. Andre the Giant appears with his stunt double on the set of The Princess Bride in 1986. The image reveals behind-the-scenes moments of the adventure and fantasy classic that enchanted generations. Neil Armstrong wears his helmet and spacesuit before his Gemini mission in 1966. This mission was an important step in his astronaut career and contributed to the success of the Apollo program. Sergeant Stubby, the most decorated dog of World War I, is photographed wearing his military uniform and insignia around 1920. He became known for his bravery, serving as a mascot and participating in several battlefield missions. A factory worker bottles ketchup at the original Heinz plant in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1897. The image shows the growing industrialization and the entry of women into the workforce at the time. On August 1st, 1969, in San Francisco, women protest against wearing bras. The movement symbolized the fight for women's liberation and women's rights in society. A streetcar driver stands in front of Liverpool Street Station in London in 1916. The scene depicts public transportation in an era defined by World War I. A young French girl kisses an American soldier on Valentine's Day in 1945. The scene symbolizes the friendship between the Allied nations and relief after years of conflict. Men who took part in the January uprising of 1863 gather at Wawel Castle in Krakow, Poland, in 1939. This photo captures the last living veterans of that conflict, which sought Poland's independence. Hans Zimmer poses next to a Moog synthesizer in 1981. The instrument helped revolutionize electronic music and sound design of the era. Zimmer would become one of the greatest film score composers. Grace Kelly on the set of High Noon in 1951. The actress, still early in her career, stands out for her elegance and talent that would make her a cinema icon. Workers assemble Sears and Roebuck catalogs in 1942. These catalogs were a popular form of mail-order shopping, offering a variety of products to American households. A 17-year-old girl is photographed in her wedding dress on her wedding day in 1956. The moment symbolizes the beginning of a new phase of life, full of dreams and responsibilities. An Italian wedding on a village street in Sicily, recorded around the 1960s. The bride and groom walk side by side, accompanied by family, friends, and children from the community. Ava Gardner appears beside her first husband, Mickey Rooney, in the 1940s. The couple had a brief relationship that reflected the fast-paced life in Hollywood. Children in a schoolyard practice swimming despite lacking water access in 1922. This improvised educational activity highlights the challenges schools faced in teaching important skills. American model and actress Anita Colby poses with mannequins resembling her in a photo shoot in 1954. The scene highlights the fashion world and the pursuit of perfection and style at the time. A Chinese worker carries a sign on his back stating that he is Chinese and not Japanese in the 1940s. This practice helped avoid harassment during World War II, a period of tension between communities because of the conflict. Chiang Wei-kuo, son of Chinese President Chiang Kai-shek, wears a Wehrmacht uniform while serving in the German Army in 1939. He studied in Germany as part of his military and political training before returning to China. A Pomona College student takes part in a weigh-in, a practice carried out by the college football team to measure the physical proportions of new female students. This activity took place in California, United States, in 1954. A Swedish policewoman patrols the streets in the dead of winter in the 1970s. She wears a heavy uniform suitable for the country's harsh climate. In 1971, a cement truck crashed near Winganon, Oklahoma. The mixer was too heavy to be moved, so it remained at the site. Mr. T serves as a soldier in the United States Army Military Police Corps in 1975. He worked as a military policeman before achieving fame as an actor and wrestler. One of the first portable phones from Motorola, released in 1973. This pioneering model represented an important leap in mobile communication. The device was large and heavy compared to today's cell phones, but it marked the beginning of the mobile phone era. McDonald's employees posed for a photo around 1970 in Staten Island, New York. The team appears smiling, highlighting the family atmosphere and the chain's popularity at the time. A child picks cotton in a field in the United States in the 1940s. The scene depicts child labor during a period marked by economic and social challenges. An anti-war protest takes place in July 1941 in the United States. Protesters march with signs questioning America's entry into World War II. Kurdish fighters pose for a photo in Iraq in the 1970s. They represent the struggle for autonomy and rights for the Kurdish people in that region. The image shows the diversity of clothing and weapons used by different groups. Dot Robinson, founder of the Motor Maids of America, and her 15-year-old daughter Betty attend a motorcycle rally in Laconia, New Hampshire, in 1947. Dot Robinson was a pioneer in women's motorcycling and an advocate for women's roles in that realm. The city of Detroit lit up at night in the 1940s. The buildings and avenues highlight the modernity and industrial growth that defined the city at that time. The Space Shuttle Columbia's launch for mission STS-93 took place on July 23, 1999. This mission was historic for carrying the first woman, Eileen Collins, to command a space shuttle. The Yonkers G-38, built around 1930, featured passenger cabins at the forward edges of its wings. The photo shows the plane at a German airport, accompanied by a classic car. A campaign in New York encourages commuting to work on roller skates during the 1940s. The goal was to save fuel amidst war efforts by promoting alternative transportation. An auto show takes place at the Hotel Astor in New York City in 1918. The event showcased some of the first luxury car models, highlighting the sophistication and modernity of the era. Residents of Hanoi wait in improvised shelters on the sidewalk during an air raid alert in 1967. They stand with water up to their chests while waiting for the all-clear signal. A pilot walks arm in arm with two flight attendants in front of a small aircraft in the 1940s. The scene represents the glamour and elegance associated with commercial aviation at the time. A 1971 advertisement highlights the coach class lounge on an American Airlines Boeing 747. The image shows a spacious, comfortable area with red sofas and modern decor. Several women dressed as Lady Diana wait to greet Prince Charles in Wellington in 1981. The event reflects the popularity and charisma of the British royal couple at that time. A soldier tests his gas mask while peeling onions at Camp Kearny, San Diego, United States, in 1918 during World War I. This practice helped verify the mask's effectiveness against irritating substances. Joan Rhodes, a strong woman, tears a telephone book in half to demonstrate her strength in 1953. She became famous for her feats of physical strength in theaters and circuses, inspiring many. Betty Brosmer dries her dress in the 1950s. She was one of the most well-known models of her time, famous for her figure and style. The offices of the Central Social Institution in Prague in 1939. The site served as headquarters for administrative activities related to social services. The image highlights the typical architecture of the time and the politically turbulent climate of pre-World War II Europe. A gas station stands in front of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. in the 1920s. The site shows the evolution of cities and the growing presence of automobiles in American urban life. Prince Charles visits a dairy factory in Zurich in January 1979. He is greeted by technicians and engineers who showcase the production process and the plant's automated controls. The Queen Mother, Princess Margaret, and Prince Charles attend Queen Elizabeth II's coronation ceremony at Westminster Abbey in 1953. The ceremony marked the official beginning of Elizabeth II's reign, which would last 7 decades. A Frankfurt sausage inspector in 1927. The professional carefully examines the products in a sausage factory. Simple Leisure in 1944, in Wythenshawe, Greater Manchester. A moment that depicts everyday life and community spirit during World War II. The Messerschmitt Kabinenroller, a German microcar produced in 1954. The vehicle was known for its compact design and closed cabin inspired by World War II fighter planes. Joop Sinju of Philips introduces the compact disc to the world in the Netherlands in March 1979. The CD would become the standard for audio recordings, revolutionizing the music industry. Tippi Hedren poses with her pet tiger in her Los Angeles kitchen in 1982. She was known for her passion for wild animals, especially big cats. Workers at the Rolleiflex camera factory in Germany in 1949. Workers at the Rolleiflex camera factory in Germany in 1949. Anthony Daniels, wearing the iconic C-3PO costume, watches his reflection in the mirror backstage during the filming of Star Wars in the 1970s. The image reveals the work behind the scenes and the makeup process that turned Daniels into one of the saga's most beloved characters. Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher walked together on the White House lawn. The former American president and the British Prime Minister appear smiling, accompanied by a dog. Diego Frazão Torquato, at age 12, plays violin at his teacher's funeral. The teacher helped him overcome poverty and violence through music. An installation worker labors on one of the world's largest bridges, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, in 1971. His name is Paul Hogan, who years later would become known as Crocodile Dundee. Grace Kelly and Frank Sinatra appear in a convertible in 1956 during a film shoot or event. The artist couple shares a relaxed moment while the production crew prepares in the background. Leon Trotsky fishes in the Gulf of Mexico in 1940. He appears focused, holding the fishing rod with determination